Première chose, puisqu'on vous connaît peu, vous êtes jeune mais néanmoins déjà expérimenté, vous avez plusieurs films à votre actif, 34 ans pour les deux, je crois, pratiquement jumeaux. Vous nous parlez un peu de votre parcours, peut-être un tout petit peu de ce que vous avez fait jusque-là, et question subsidiaire mais inhérente à la première, pourquoi l'animation? Est-ce que c'est un goût qui vous vient de l'enfance, que vous partagez?
The background, yeah, we've been working together for the last 12 years, I guess. Our background is that we went to animation school together in Viborg, the animation workshop in Viborg in Denmark, where we met each other. And I've always been drawing, handheld, you could say, pencil drawings. I'm a huge comic book fan. That's how I learned my art. And then I met Kristen at school, who was into 3D animation, was a really skilled 3D artist, and we sort of connected really fast. You know, you needed some guidance in drawing and designing, and I would love to learn how to do 3D. So after school, we sat together all the time. We lived right across from each other at the, you know, the dorm. So every night we spent making 3D animation and making short films and making characters and rigging, and I learned a lot about animation in 3D and stuff. And then after school, luckily we applied for a job at the same studio in Copenhagen, and we got in there and started working together professionally.
So we don't know anybody else.
Yeah, so we like to say that we're actually kind of married to each other. Yeah. Professionally.
We have different areas. He's doing a lot of the story related stuff and the storyboarding and animation directing, and I'm doing the artistic and technical part. So we kind of have a very clear work split where we kind of overlap each other a little bit, but we leave each other with different responsibilities.
I think for me, we were just talking about it earlier, but I think that, for me it was you know, I loved animation when I was a kid. I saw the, you know, the shorts from Disney with Donald Duck, and also Tom and Jerry, one of my favorite short comic book cartoons. But I always thought of it as kind of unrealistic to work with. I come from a little farm in the middle of Denmark somewhere, and none of my friends were drawing. So I had no idea if I had any talent or not. But then I got older, and I think that was when I was in just before high school. I went in and I saw Disney's Aladdin, actually, and that was actually where I thought, oh man, I loved it, and that's what I want to do.
En termes de créativité, qu'est-ce que l'animation apporte à de spécifique, peut-être par rapport au cinéma de prise de vue réelle, une inventivité, effectivement, une folie absolue en termes de création. Mais vous, en tant qu'artiste, qu'est-ce qu'elle vous apporte en plus, personnellement?
It makes it possible for us to create a whole world where we can define how everything looks and moves. And so we can have complete control over the environment. And the actors too, and so it offers possibilities where things are impossible physically, of course, to realize that. And we have such a low budget, and we have very ambitious stories we want to tell. So it would be impossible to do in live action. It would look extremely bad, and we managed to make something that looks pretty good with a very small budget. So that's the way to work for us.
It's really the thing where you can create everything from scratch. That I think defines the intoxicating things about doing animation. That you are in complete control of everything, and we are, at the end of the day, complete control freaks. And also the thing with that the way that you make animation is really one of my, I really love the thing how we do it. We have a very small team when we make movies, and on Ronal the Barbarian we were only like 15 people at the studio, 8 animators and a few builders and a comp guy and effects and lighting. And we were all sitting together in these 2 horseshoe formations and experiencing this this organic thing actually coming to life.
C'est donc le 3e, un gros succès déjà. Donc vous avez, en quelques années, déjà bien marqué votre territoire et votre personnalité.
For us, it's just important. Whenever we do something, it's just important that we make something that we actually just wanted to see ourselves. And we don't...
We would have a problem doing stuff for really small kids, for instance, because we want to know if it's entertaining for ourselves. If we laugh, then we know that somebody else might also laugh. But if we make something for an audience that's not ourselves, then it's hard to know if it works, of course. So we use ourselves, our own taste, as guardians for what kind of movies we want to do. If we laugh when we make it and when we see it, and generally pleased ourselves, then we hope there's an audience that feel the same.
Mais comment est née l'histoire de Ronal? Une fascination pour les Vikings bodybuildés, une envie d'un grand film d'aventure?
We came up with the idea when we just made the studio. We were sitting together in our producer's apartment one evening, drinking a lot of wine and doing the classical thing with writing down ideas, blah, blah, blah. And we had been talking about doing we wanted to do what was it?
Fantasy musical. Oh, yeah. A fantasy musical.
And a heavy metal musical set in a fantasy universe. Yeah. And we started talking about, yeah, they're all gonna dress out like Manowar and Def Leppard and have these, big hairs and G-strings and stuff like that and just look really tacky and cool. But then when we thought about it, that, we don't play any instruments, and we don't really know how to write songs, so just the whole idea with the musical just became too much of a challenge, I guess. But then when we just took that part out, we just kept the rest, the costumes, and we kind of like wanted to go back to the time where a good actor in a fantasy movie was defined of how big his muscles were.
Yeah, definitely.
And a good actress of how foxy she was. So you could actually say it's not an adaptation, but it's definitely an homage.
Yeah.
To these
a kind of homage.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely meant as an homage.
A lot of liberty.
Yeah.
Comment est-ce que vous l'avez créé, ce Ronal?
Well, that's actually a funny question because when we designed Ronal, we had really different opinions about how he was going to look, and then he was the end result is a complete blend between his drawing and my drawing. So if you take this drawing and put it together, then you have the look. And I guess that sometimes a character is a kind of looks like yourself when you draw a character, I guess. So
we actually what we like to do is we actually quite often just shoot from the hip when we do something, because we have so little time and so little budget to do it, and just the experience. In our experience, if you have to do something really fast, it's always your first idea that eventually ends up being the best one, because you think with your gut. Sort of, you think with your. If you start to think too much about stuff, if you start to intellectualize about a design or something like that, you can end up, getting somewhere where the audience is not. So we're always pretty fast in.
Yeah, we do really a couple of drawings. Sometimes only one drawing per character, and then we just build him.
Pas plus, no more.
Yeah. But then we take it to the next. Then we take it to 3D building stadium, and then you play around with stuff in 3D. But it's actually Typically, it's only a few drawings.
Ouais. Mais quel type d'animation avez-vous utilisé pour mettre en scène le film?
That's your apartment.
Yeah, well.
Department, not apartment.
When it comes to animation, and we have to agree on a style and a technique. We have a limited budget, so we have to decide on a quality level for the animation and for the general look of the film. We've been doing these movies where we advance every time we make it better, but we kind of have our own animation style that we invented a long time ago. It's kind of a Simpsonish Muppet show to begin with in Turtle in Trouble, and then we advance it more and more, so it becomes more and more classical. So it's kind of a mixture between the classical Pixar approach and then a bit of Simpsons and Muppet show in there. And the technical side of it is we simplify the controls for the animator so they can produce really fast. So we don't have a million controls for controlling the feet, for instance, because we never use the toes. It's just like walking like
a duck.
Yeah, like a duck.
Il y a l'eau, il y a le feu, il y a la pierre, il y a le minéral, le végétal, il y a l'air. Est-ce que vous avez repoussé vos limites? Est-ce que vous êtes allé au-delà même de ce que le temps, vos moyens financiers et même vos moyens techniques vous permettaient? Est-ce que vous avez eu envie comme ça de vous heurter à des difficultés supplémentaires?
Yeah, I guess we were. I guess we were a bit afraid because we were so ambitious about how much stuff we wanted in this movie. We were going to make an epic fantasy movie, and we wanted it to be awesome. So it was. We knew we had to have cool effects and have really huge environments and have volume. Shitloads of characters and volume effects and really paint with lights and stuff. So and generally have a pretty high production quality level compared to what we had in our earlier movies. So we knew that we were going to have kind of a hard time, but we planned it really well, and we had because we knew so specific how our style was going to be in regards to both the visual look and the animation. We could all the time, we can produce a rock or a prop or a set item or an effect really fast because we were really sure about how that thing was going to be produced in the easiest possible way with the look we wanted.
Bravo pour votre film, et puis on espère vraiment vous accueillir dans quelques années avec une autre production qui aura votre marque de fabrique, c'est-à-dire à la fois la virtuosité du cinéma et un humour extrêmement agréable. Merci beaucoup à tous les deux d'avoir accepté ce rendez-vous. Merci à tous ceux qui étaient là dans la salle, et merci encore à Bernard et Sheila qui ont assuré remarquablement la traduction. Bonne fin d'Annecy, parce que c'est pratiquement fini, hélas, mais il reste encore plein de choses à découvrir. Bon film, et à bientôt.
Thanks.
Le lapin. Le lapin. Le lapin. Le lapin. Le lapin. Le lapin. Oh.